A chance to see the new low-budget film Scarlett on Prime. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zenka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And thank you so much for spending time with me. And if you'd like to read anything that I have written, remember that you can go to Amazon.com and just type in my name, Frank Zenka. You can also go to Audible and check out the Destiny Aurora first book. I also have 3 other books for that series as well. There's also a graphic novel and a board game and an RPG for that one. There's also my fantasy book, The Tales of Reveiw, The Iron Witch. If you're into horror, we have like The Sixth Sense. It's a ghost story called The Awakening. And if you're into true life, we have a Holocaust biography called Escape from Berlin. So there's a little bit of out there for everybody on my page. I'm working on a new book right now. And I'm working on a new comic as well. You can also find Lords of L.A. On there, which is my vampire mob in the 50s on there as well. You can also go to destinyaurora.net, and there's a lot of that stuff there too. I do sign them if you get them direct. All right, so remember to give me a like, subscribe if you can. And as you know, I am a low-budget filmmaker. So in the, low few million range. And so I like talking about low-budget films, and I like watching low-budget films to see how they do. Can they exceed, a large, ambitious project on a lower budget? Like my Western called Six Gun Savior with Marty Cove from the Cobra Kai and Eric Roberts. We did that for far less than $1 million. And, it was overly ambitious for the amount of money that we had. But then again, I look at what the Russo brothers just did in Electric State with $300 million. And I got to say that was shit. So, and they had everything they could work with. And it still was a bad movie. And I think that was generally disliked. So, budget is budget, So this is an action film. And I think part of the reason, so this is directed by John Lidd. And he's done 55 projects. All of them have been low budget. And all of them have been average based on the ratings that I see in IMDb. Plus, there's like absolutely no pictures of the film anywhere. This is crazy. I don't know what the budget was. If I was going to guess what the budget was, I would say maybe $2 million. That's what I would think. It is written by Brittany Wiscombe, who also has just about 50 writing credits. Again, all of them low budget, nothing I recognize, and they're all mediocre, according to the ratings on IMDb. But the not having any pictures up anywhere is baffling to me. I don't know why a low budget film would have no pictures anywhere. Yeah, for a low budget film, you've got to have a photographer on set every day, and you got to be posting stuff. That you got to be able to market that thing, man. But anyway, so I watched this thing, and it wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. It wasn't good. It wasn't good either. Of course, I'm going to tell you to recommend watching it just because it's a low-budget film, and the more eyes on low budget at this point, the better off all of us are in the industry. But this is about a girl that's going to college, even though she's in real life, she's 36. And she has an estranged relationship with her father, who's played by Brian Krause. So Melanie Stone is the star of this. Why? I don't know. Not that she's bad, she's just miscast. So when you're doing an action film where your main character is a female, you've got to cast to a certain type of person. That certain type of person has to sell fighting against larger males. And if they can't sell it, then the movie just comes out stupid. So Melanie Stone is 5'2". She's 5'2". Everybody in the entire movie towers over her. And you're supposed to buy that this 5'2" girl that people could just pick up and throw. Any guy in this movie can literally pick her up and throw her across the room where she's not getting back up. And we're supposed to buy that she's hand-to-hand fighting larger guys. It's just not working. And plus her voice sounds a little high-pitched. It's coming off like this. There's no strength to her voice. So she doesn't command respect in any of the scenes that she's in. So that's why I'm saying she was woefully miscast. Not that she's a bad actress. You could be a very good actor and just be miscast in a film where the film does not come off as you intend because the person in the main role or in the specific role just doesn't fit the part. And that's where we are with this. So anyway, she has an estranged relationship with her father, and her father is Brian Krause, who is older now. I would say he's got to be close to 60. Let's see, I met him 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and he was working on some kind of a submarine movie at the time. I just met him at a party. And he's from Charmed. He played the angel from Charmed, if that jogs your memory. So, really nice guy. Really down to earth. We talked for a little bit. He wasn't put off by the fact that I was a nobody or anything like that. So, but yeah, it's always good to meet people that are working on low budget because, Charmed was over. And even like the cop, like the tall cop from Charmed, I met him at, it was like a little seminar, and it was a casting director or something like that, and he was looking for work. He was like, I can't find any work, and I was on Charmed for 6 years or however long it was. So it's interesting to see what happens with, of course, these people are also, I'm sure still getting residuals, because Charmed is still very, very famous. But then again, they're getting residuals on streaming of which nobody has any reporting. So who the hell knows? I don't. That's the problem. That's what the problem was when everything went from DVD to streaming, is that there's no accountability, right? Because the streaming guys can lie across the board about how many streams they got or whatever, where when you were selling a physical unit, you did inventory, and whatever was sold, and whatever wasn't. There was no way to lie about any of it. There was always accounting, whereas streaming, there isn't. And that's why nobody's making any money, and that's why the unions are going crazy, because, there's just no accounting to anything. But going back to the plot, so she's estranged, and then her dad, she knows her dad's a spy of some kind because he can never talk about anything. But he's trained her whole life about how to shoot and how to fight and how to, go to the safe house and all this other stuff. And her mom is dead or whatever, so it's only him. And they're estranged because they never were able to do real things. I mean, for her birthday or whatever else, he gave her a knife or whatever. So it reminded me of Hit Girl from, which is funny, because with Hit Girl, she was like 5'0" in that, right? But Chloe Grace Moretz was able to, but she really was, she was always using weapons. That was the thing. They were able to have those fight scenes where she was smaller on purpose because she was shooting out their legs, she was cutting out their legs, she was always playing low, unless that she was playing high where she was jumping on, running on the wall or whatever else. But otherwise, she would always go low, or she would use the fact that she was a girl and have them underestimate her. But she was always using weapons, and she would keep away because she knew that if she was ever manhandled, she was done. So that's the problem with this, is that Melanie's character, Scarlett, of which she doesn't even have red hair, but the villain calls her Red. I'm like, she doesn't even have red hair, she has brown hair. I don't know. But anyway, she was always like hand-to-hand fighting. At one point, she did get a crowbar, and so that I could buy. You hit a guy in the head with a crowbar, he's not getting back up. So I get all that. That I can buy. But when you're trying to hand-to-hand fight, it's against a 5'2" girl, yeah, it ain't working. It ain't working. Brian Krause could pull it. It was even though he was 60 years old, I think he pulled it anyway. But anyway, he gets captured, so she's got to go save him, and on top of that, there's a virus involved. That's really all you need to know. It's a very, very basic plot. And it's got a twist in it that you see coming a million miles away. The twist is just whatever. So I don't know. See, I watched it. I semi enjoyed it. It's not anything I would watch again. You have women like Kate Beckinsale. Kate Beckinsale can sell it. I mean, she can sell thing because she's also a taller woman and she's lithe and stuff like that. Of course, she was playing a vampire too. She did even the stuff that she did recently. But again, you're giving women weapons. That's what you have to do. You've got to give women weapons to fight with. That's right. I forgot that Brian Krause was also in Return to Blue Lagoon. Mila Jovovich. Couldn't have a better co-partner for that one. That was in the early 90s. This guy's been acting forever, man. He's been acting forever. He's decent. He's a decent guy. But yeah, so here's the other thing. So I looked up Melanie Stone. I'm like, why did you put her in this main role when she doesn't fit, right? It had to be something. And it's not like she would sell internationally. So what's the deal? So she was in I want to call it a web series, but it was like a crowd-funded series of films that was fantasy-based called Mythica. It was very, very well received, even though it was low budget. I mean, it looked low budget. It wasn't like... But at that point in time, it was being crowd-funded, and there was a lot of stuff being crowd-funded at that time when Kickstarter first opened up, where they were making some money and they could do, average things. But if even fantasy... has to have some kind of budget because you got a lot of special effects, and the special effects were not very good. But anyway, it had its fan base enough that they kept making them. I think they made like 5 of them. But anyway, I think she is one of the leads to that. She's on the cover, the poster of all of them, and she's like front and center. So I assume that she's. I think I saw a piece of one. So I'm like, still, Mythica is. Why would you choose somebody from Mythica, to be in the lead in your movie? It's just very odd. And then I looked up the director, John Lidd, and I noticed that he was the director of Mythica. I'm like, oh, there's the answer to the question. Also, Brian Krause and Melanie Stone had played father-daughter before in another movie, which is probably how Brian Krause got pulled into this whole thing. Anyway, it's a little action movie. Don't expect much. The acting isn't bad, but as your thing, it's like her voice sounds so girly, very high-pitched. She doesn't have any... There's no gravitas to her acting, I can see her playing like a mage or something like that a lot easier. I don't even know what role she played in Mythica, but anyway, the movie is completely average. I wouldn't say it's maybe slightly below average, but I'm just going to give it average, right? So on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm just going to say it's a 5. It's a 5. I know there's a lot of things that say like 5.5 and stuff like that on there, but it's just a straight 5 for me. It's not awful. It's not good. It's just there. But if you're looking for anything to just waddle away the time or something to replay in the background, yeah, go ahead and watch it. It's not awful, but I really wish somebody else was in that role to see what else somebody could do with that. Because I just really wasn't blown away with her. But anyway, let me know what you think. If you think that... then again, too, they had Brian Krause, that was not aged down, talking to, because they did a flashback of her, like, 10 or something like that, and Brian Krause, 60. Very odd choice. Very, very odd choices across the board. But I don't think John Litt is a very good director. I think he's an average director. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's an average director. There's not really anything that sets him apart on a basis of style. There's no style to him. He's just shooting straight, So there's no great, shots in there. There's no, one take, takedowns and fight scenes. There's nothing great here, unfortunately. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I'll always watch some low budget stuff anytime I can. I will support anyone. Like I thought that if you saw my other thing on the low budget film, Domino or whatever her name was, Domino, whatever. I thought that one was a far better film than this one. So just saying. All right, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Remember, give me that like, subscribe, and share this film out there, or share this video out there. And also remember, too, that you can go to DestinyRoar.net or Amazon.com and check out my stuff. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.